Leader Fan Radio Network.
Did you see the game?
And KFAN.com. 2 minutes, 27 seconds past the hour of 3 o'clock Central Standard Time, Friday edition. Friday Football Beast edition of the afternoon aardvark on a, cold during the Ice Nami Friday afternoon here in the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul. My name is Dan Barreiro. I host the program. Guardsy produces the show, and we are delighted that you are along for what should be a very emotional and special ride this evening between 3 and I'm presuming 6:30 tonight. Guardsy produces the show. My name is Dan Barreiro. We promise, I think, only to stay fairly interested from start to finish, which is many days and many nights half the battle. The guest lineup is deep and distinguished, and we'll give you details on that in just a minute. And it's not just the Friday regulars. So buckle up, as we like to say in the business. Did you happen to see, this was, or hear in this case, man, what a throwback this was. Do you remember Anthony Barr?
Yes. He was at the People's Stadium on Sunday, was he not?
I believe that's true.
He blew the horn.
He was a guest on the Paul Allen Project. I thought it was earlier this week.
Okay.
Maybe it was late last week before he blew the horn. I don't know. He was in. I don't have no idea. I don't think he lives here anymore, does he?
I don't know that.
Not even sure. So at some point in the interview, because his career is over, right? He's not playing anymore, correct? The project says you played with a lot of good and interesting quarterbacks. Who did it for you? Who was the best quarterback that you played with? Now, he played for the Vikings for a number of years, so he was with a lot of quarterbacks here. The most notable, I think, would be Kirk Cousins, Pro Bowl quarterback Ted Bridgewater.
Yep.
Dallas, he had a year in Dallas. I believe the last year of his career was in Dallas.
Yep, when Zim was there.
And there it was Dak Prescott, correct? Or still is.
Yep.
He's the starter again on Sunday night. I think Christian Ponder was in there, for whatever that's worth.
Wow.
Do you want to hazard a guess as to who Barr picked as his favorite quarterback?
Case Keenum.
Correct.
Yeah. The one you didn't mention, Case Keenum.
Yeah, I may have made that too obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't.
And because he's our favorite.
Yes.
It makes sense.
Out of nowhere, it's Case Keenum, who now is making magic as the number 3 quarterback in Chicago. Completely transforming the quarterback room yet again without throwing a pass in Chicago, Illinois. Big Case Keenum guy. Now, he could have named Cousins. He didn't, I don't think. I think that's one of the names that, because PA tried to lead the witness. He mentioned, pretty sure he mentioned Dak. He mentioned Kirk. He didn't mention Case Keenum.
Interesting, like you.
He volunteered.
Yeah.
That's what he did. And Cousins, of course, as I'm sure many of you know now, are, shall we say, back in the news after a spirited, dare I say, borderline mythic performance in Kirk Cousins' history, out of nowhere. On Thursday Night Football, his team already mathematically eliminated. Atlanta's out, even before the game. And yet, he's the starter. And he brought the Falcons back from a 28-14 deficit on the road in Tampa Bay. Did you see any of it, or at least did you see his numbers?
Yeah, and I heard about it, obviously. I was not watching it last night. I was watching more of the Wild game. But you couldn't miss it if you were on social media, what Kirk O'Chains was up to, because it was throwback.
Well, here's what's weird, because the last few times I've seen him, he's looked disinterested, disoriented, and just not very good at all. And last night, despite 18 penalties by the Falcons committed by Atlanta. 18! That's hard to do in a 4-quarter game. He goes 30 for 44 for 373 yards. And best of all, on the game-winning field goal drive, They are facing 3rd and 28. And he engineers the first down. 14-yard pass completion on 3rd down. And then on 4th and, I guess that would be 14. Even I can do that math.
Yep.
A 21-yard completion that ultimately leads to the game-winning field goal. And we didn't need him. And interestingly, he'll be available next year. We're going to have so many choices next year.
Yeah.
We could keep the kid and let him continue to grow.
Our young quarterback.
In the, what's the, the precision odds.
Pure progression.
Pure progression.
Yep.
And get better at that, in that mold. We got that option. We got Aaron Rodgers next year, because Rodgers goes year to year. We got Daniel Jones next year, right, as a possibility. And we got Joe Burrow as a possibility. We got so many options.
Sounds like it.
For 2000. We're going to be, every year it feels like even though I know we don't want to, we're going through all the quarterback permutations and options that might be at our disposal. But it was for a game that had, very little, well, I can't say no meaning, because Tampa Bay is still trying to win a division title and everything, and they're in the playoff chase, although they have kind of imploded. But it's a good example of why I think football does rule, because I ended up getting into it down the stretch. I was back and forth between the rather spirited Minnesota Wild victory and that game, although, again, it's hard because one of them's on the app, and the other one is on Amazon Prime, and the other one is on regular TV, which still annoys me. I'm not very good at switching back and forth.
I don't think anybody is.
No, I don't think anybody is when it's that. But I got to keep watching the end of this ball game. I got to do it. And with, again, in the case of Atlanta, nothing at stake. I wonder if old number 18, I think he's still 18 there, if he could foster up some of that old Cousins magic. A guy the Vikings gave up on, so many other people have given up on, who's given no reason until that game for anybody to do anything but give up on him. And he's winging it like it's what would be his best year. 2000
KOC's first year, probably.
Which is what, 2022? Whatever it is.
Yeah. Weren't we 13-4 that year, or 12-5, whatever it was?
I think you might be right.
We had to come back against Indy.
You might be right.
It was great.
It was like he was doing it just basically on recollection. Just zinging the ball around, just throwing it wherever it had to be with some spice to it. So I'm wondering if there's any of the Kirk Obos who are saying, how about Charge? Did Charge flex a little after last night's performance by Kirk Cousins via X?
I didn't check into the Friday Football Feast today. I wonder if Charge forced himself on, even from Utah.
Should.
I know he's been on a couple of times since he's moved out there, but I wondered if he said, look, guys.
Vindication for him.
Yes. Young Alec, Paul, it's time for Charge to come home.
What would be the pure progression of available quarterbacks, somebody wants to know? The pure progression of available quarterbacks for the Minnesota Vikings. Well, it's got to start with JJ, right?
You mean what was most likely? Or what should the power rankings be?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know what I guess he needs to, 612 guy needs to define pure progression in this sense.
Because pure progression, you want your first option.
Yeah,
I would
true.
say Joe Burrow is your pure progression.
Joe Burrow would be your first option.
He's your first option.
Yeah, probably least likely for all the obvious reasons. But if you're asking,
first option's usually double covered, right? So you got to move on. You got to move on to the second progression. So what would the second?
I wonder if J.J. McCarthy would raise. I should say Justin Jefferson raised his hand there. What do you think? We talked about the yesterday.
Well, 100%. Number one, Burrow's better, and number two, he went to school with him. He knows him. I'm sure they had a good vibe. They had maybe the greatest college football offense of all time when they won the national championship.
Think about it.
I have a lot. I love that team.
Yeah, there's no question about it.
That was the first time Joe Burrow ever smoked a cigar, that mythic photo in the locker room after they won the national championship.
True?
Apparently, that just came out within the last few weeks. But, yeah, I think Joe Burrow, but then I'm really going to struggle. I'm going to need a minute for progression 2, 3, and 4 out of the list that you just brought up. Because Jones is coming off an injury now.
Yeah, that's correct.
Cousins is still Cousins. I might go Cousins, too.
Is that recency bias?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Off last night. But if he's healthy and can play, he's still good.
And we could get him cheaper.
Well, it's still Kirk.
That's still Kirk, and yeah, you're right.
I mean, come on.
He's always going to win that battle.
Yeah.
He's number one.
I don't know what cheap for Kirk means.
He's the Tom Brady of contract negotiations when it comes to the quarterback position.
It's amazing.
That means the best of the best. All right, we do normally not have a 315 guest, but we do today. Our old friend Joe Cowley, who still covers the NBA for the Chicago Sun-Times, is going to join us. He has found a way to insinuate himself into Minnesota Timberwolves conversation when it comes to the point guard position. We'll get into all of that with him, and maybe who knows what else with our guy Joe Cowley. That's Wolves. We are indeed back. A prediction segment will be a little later than usual. Gerbschmidt will join us probably about 3:47 or so. Ben Gessling, Star Tribune, Vikings, 4:30, and Lavelle E. Neal III, 5:30. It's been way too long since we've chatted with our next guest. He, I think, still spends a decent part of the year in Minnesota, although he's not really one of us. And I was mentioning this to somebody earlier today. I don't know who it was. That there's, I think, if you're doing the pure progression on stir the pot candidates among media, I still would like to think that our next guest is very close to the top of the list. Joe Cowley, kind enough to join us. You would take that, I think, as a compliment, or would you be? Have you become one of those sensitive media types like the rest of us?
Yeah, you know me, I'm Mr. Sensitivity. I think 2013 Deadspin anointed me with worst Twitter account in sports, number one.
Wow.
I think Stephen A. Smith was 4. So that's
right.
Yeah. If you like good feelings and good joy and pleasure and positivity, don't follow me on Twitter.
You're honest about that, right? I mean,
100%.
Yeah, you don't want to.
I'm not looking for followers.
You do not. No, you don't need it, and you don't want anybody to be unsettled. In other words, they should know what's coming. If you follow
100%.
Joe Cowley, and I think is it J Cowley Hoops? Is that the current way to follow you?
Yeah, at J Cowley Hoops.
At J Cowley Hoops, yeah. Then you're warned. Just be warned. In fact, is that in your message? Yeah, be warned. That should be.
I do. I got a podcast now, like every American.
Nice.
And what I say at the beginning is you can follow me at J Cowley Hoops. It is not a fun follow, so just be warned. So I put it out there.
Yeah, there it is.
If you want to follow, you follow. If you don't, I don't really care.
That's the perfect part. Is this a solo pod, or are you? You have
this is
a
under
partner.
the Dave Kaplan umbrella.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Cap called me last year,
nice.
And he's got, I think it's like 245,000 followers on
Excellent.
YouTube, so it goes right to YouTube, and
Outstanding.
I handle all Bulls content. So
That's a great idea. I did not know you were. I guess I should know because everybody does have a podcast except me. I do not have a podcast, but that's a good association to have in the Chicago area as well, for sure. Well, I hope you're doing well, and it's good to hear your voice as always. And the main reason we were checking in is what you wrote regarding Coby White. And I want to start. Are you a big AI guy? I'm guessing you're not, but I'll ask nevertheless. You might surprise me. Do you believe? Are you a big AI guy in terms of?
Well, there goes AI.
There goes AI. We lost him. We'll put you back on hold, and we'll try to get. Actually, that'll give me time to get to what I wanted to get to regarding the Bulls guard, Coby White. Let me see if I can. Where's the item I'm looking for the link of? Well, now I can't find it, but it's here somewhere. Guardsy's calling him back right now. We should be able to get him on here very shortly. And it could again get juicy. We got him back. Let's see. All right, I don't know what happened there. Some kind of sabotage. I'm not exactly sure. But I was asking you for a big AI guy because if you Google Coby White's name, one of the messages that comes out that's, I think, AI generated is basically that the Wolves are serious pursuit of Coby White. Now, as you know, AI can sometimes put various reports together and they end up being inaccurate. My understanding is they're looking at him. They have to explore all the possibilities, but not necessarily that, this thing is hot and heavy right now. What do you know? How would you describe what you understand as the Wolves' interest in the Bulls guard?
From what I was told, they're in serious pursuit of another ball handler.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a list of many names. Coby White is one of those names. And, they need a dance partner. They need the Bulls to decide what they are, which is never an easy thing for this front office to do. I mean, this Bulls front office is gone from bad to incompetent quickly.
Yeah.
And they need to figure out what they are, what they want to be, and how to get there. And they haven't been able to do that for the last 4 years. So I definitely think he is on the radar, but I also think the Bulls have 8 possible movable contracts.
Sure.
So they would like to kind of hold out as long as possible to see what they can get if there's a bigger prize for them to get. But they don't know how to get it anyway, so it really doesn't matter.
Well, so I thought the Bulls started this season as the talk of the league. Like they figured it out.
Yes.
Something is the light bulb's gone off. And they play the right way. They got a cool ensemble going, and everything was great. And it seems as if, looking at the standings since then, they've imploded again. Is that about right regarding this season so far?
Yeah, well, I think what happened, and I finally bought in. I'm like, yeah, these guys are all getting along.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of the 2005 White Sox from spring training where they just all hung out all summer and they really liked each other. And then they come out of the gate like they did, and I'm like, okay, they're just going to run teams in the ground with this depth. And then all of a sudden you see the Miamis and Orlando's, teams you weren't expecting to run, and now they flipped the script. Now the difference is everybody's running, but half the league is also playing defense, and the Bulls left that part of the equation out. So what you're seeing is a team that's still second in pace, but 20-something in defense.
Yeah.
And the Miami game was telling because Miami basically said, all right, we're going to take your cute little formula from last year, and we're going to show you how we do it with the Heat culture, and then we're going to D you up on the other end. Now what are you going to do? And it was a blowout. It was embarrassing on every facet. So, and now they've had injuries, and they've had some other things, and some things are starting to splinter a little bit. So when it's December 12th, like I tweeted out today, and you're in Charlotte and it's a must-win game, you are officially a dumpster fire.
Yeah, that's all true. So tell me about White, what you think of him as a player. You know the Wolves, and I think the roster pretty well. You pay attention to all these teams, but certainly the Wolves. So should he be, let's leave aside the possibility of actually doing a deal, should he be intriguing to the Wolves?
100%, because he can play either guard spot, as unselfish as they come, a emerging leader, a great guy, great team guy, cares at the end of the day, cares about win-loss, doesn't care about his own numbers. He's a really good person. And, I'm not saying he's an impactful guy that gets them over the hump of OKC, but he solves a lot of their problems. He's not a good defender, but they have front court defense, so they don't have to really worry about that. So, yeah, I think he'd be a great fit with Ant because he can play either guard spot and has played either guard spot. And he's got – the thing I like about him is he's self-made. He's got some Jimmy Butler in him with you tell him what his holes are, and that's what he's going to go in the offseason and work at. Instead of, I'm a really good ball handler, so I'm going to go work on being even a better ball handler. No, he goes into the summer and says, what do I need to work on? That's what I'm going to work on. So he's a self-starter in that way.
So update me again on his contract situation, and does that make it trickier to determine what the Wolves would be interested in giving up? What's left on his deal?
He's expiring contract. The Bulls offered him. He said no. He bet on himself for this year. He is really adamant that he wants to go to free agency and shop. Could a team persuade him? Maybe, but I don't know if teams are willing to give up contracts right now and say, let's go ahead and do this with so much season left and so much uncertainty and apron and I mean, the CBA has really strangled teams out and really strangled the old ways we used to think about trades and players and signing trades. That's what's tough is you're not going to get a commitment from him because he wouldn't even commit to the Bulls, a place he, his heart is at and he wants to stay. I just don't think they can afford to be a sinking ship and not throw cargo off the side.
It does make sense if they're going to do it, though, as you say, probably for the Bulls to wait this thing out a little bit. The Wolves are going to have to be patient in that regard if they are interested.
Yeah, unless something else comes their way where Memphis says we can't handle Ja anymore, and we're just going to give him away. Or he's such a headache, we got to get off of him right now. So could that change? Yes. But right now, I think a lot of teams, because of the play-in, a lot of teams feel good and feel like they're in it. So you don't really want to push those chips to the center of the table yet. And that includes a Bulls team that's, pretty delusional and has been for a couple seasons.
Would you flirt with Ja, or do you think that's too dangerous if you're in the Wolves position?
I wouldn't touch Ja. And it's funny because out of that class, obviously Zion and Ja, which headache would you take first? I would take Zion every day that ends in Y over Ja because I just don't trust that Ja is no longer the player he used to be, and he's just too big of a headache. Zion, you just got to worry about his health and just what is he hanging with porn stars or strippers? I mean, I can deal with that. The other stuff with Ja, I can't. That's a headache, and his dad, and that's too much.
What kind of package would the Bulls be interested in if it gets more serious at some point to acquire for the Wolves to get Coby?
Yeah, I mean, I think they really liked Shannon Jr. in the draft process, and obviously, Io has spoken highly about him.
Yep.
So I think that would have to be included. I was told that Behringer is not an option, so I think they would love that.
Yep.
The Bulls. But I was told that is not even going to be on the table, that Minnesota really covets him and likes what he's about. Leave it to the Bulls to draft the wrong Frenchman this past June. So, and then, then you're playing with a contract. DiVincenzo's contract matches up. So then you're just trying to play the matchup contract game. The Bulls would like to get a draft asset back. But as you know, the Timberwolves assets for 26, which is the class that everyone is now coveting, are pretty messy with protected and what can go where and what's protected. So that's going to be kind of tough. It might have to be something further down the road. But if the Bulls trade Coby White, they better get some kind of asset back because they've missed on acquiring assets the last 4 years.
The Wolves, out of necessity early this season, all but proclaimed Anthony Edwards is our point guard, right? They've said, because obviously Mike Conley, who's a regular guest on this show, I think even Mike gets it. He's longer in the tooth. He's accepted the new role. He's not going to be on the court all the time anymore. And they've said, they put, as you know, DiVincenzo in the starting lineup, but he's really not a great ball handler. He's not a guy who's going to run anything, maybe for short periods. So they basically said, Ant, you got to do it all, until we can figure out something else. I understand why they did it, given their personnel. I don't think it's in the long-term interest, even the short-term interest, frankly, of this team and Anthony Edwards, even in a league where obviously there are more and more scoring point guards. What do you think? Joe? Joe, can you hear us? Joe? I think we lost him again. That's twice. Some phone problems in the greater... Well, actually, I think he said he's out of town right now. It wouldn't be Chicago. Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line is open, 64686. As we're waiting, I get one of these texts, and I get it. I understand it. I'm not offended by it, about the Wolves trading for Tyus Jones. You're not going to find two bigger Tyus Jones fans in this market than Guardsy and I, but I don't think he moves the needle enough for me. Now, you could probably get him for not much if that's your intent, but I honestly don't think that is enough of you need a more, if you're going to make a move, I think it needs to be something a little bit more sizable. I don't know how much you heard of my rambling question.
No, I heard. Okay. I heard exactly what you said. And here's the thing. Dallas named Cooper Flagg the starting point guard, and then they saw how taxing it is on him.
Yeah, right.
And a couple of years ago, the Bulls tried putting Zach LaVine at the point guard, and then you see how taxing on him. and this is a couple of years ago. This is before pace kicked up. So now you add pace to the mix. It's just too much. You got to be our primary scorer. You have to be a substantial defender, or at least adequate defender in the backcourt, which is not easy with the way teams are running. And you have to bring the ball up, and some teams want to throw a guy 90 feet at you. So, yeah, it's a cute idea, but it just doesn't – it's too much. And so I get why they are now pursuing someone that could take those duties off of Ant and just have Ant be a dual backcourt guy, which that's why the Coby White thing fits, because Coby's done both too. So,
our guest, by the way, Joe Cowley, you still write for newspapers, right? Chicago Sun-Times. Newspapers still do exist?
I still do, and I think I'm the last guy.
I think you are.
There might be a couple others that writes on a 10 o'clock deadline, has to make deadline, and is not chatting it up and goofing around in the media room at 9:45 and slapping butts and I can write whenever I want because I don't have a deadline. I am the caveman. I'm the last guy doing that. I'm the idiot.
It is amazing to me because, well, there's some, like you say, there's some, like the deadlines here have become just absurd. I don't even understand them at this point in this market. And then I look at the shrinking staffs. Like, how many people do you have, writers, on the Sun-Times sports department staff, and how many are left at even the Chicago Tribune? Like 2, 3, 4?
I can't speak for the Tribune. We have beat writers for everything, including the Sky, and we travel with the Sky.
That's great.
So we are still
how are you doing this?
Full functioning. I have no idea.
How is this happening? How are you pulling this off?
I have no idea. In a couple of weeks, I could be a greeter at Costco in St. Louis
Yes,
Park. So I don't know.
Nothing wrong with that. It's a very good Costco, as you know all too well.
I love that Costco.
Are there? Let me ask you this. I know this isn't Bulls related, and I don't want to make you do Timberwolves wine line, but you know the league, so I think the Wolves absolutely are looking and have to and need to and keep all their options open at the position. So leaving Coby out of this for a second. Who else do you think is viable? Who else do you think is worth trying to go after? Who might move the needle, at least some, that might be gettable? Any other names come to mind?
Well, I mean, it's funny that we're here. I mean, Colin Sexton is a guy that could be dumped. You have to start looking and saying, okay, if you're not going to get Ja, forget the Kyrie drain. At least as of right now,
right?
Who knows what Dallas ends up doing. But then you're kind of looking at those teams that know for sure they're not making it and don't want to make it and covet that 26 draft class, and they start dumping. Otherwise, you're waiting till February, which I don't think the Timberwolves want to do. You don't want to lose too much ground to teams because you couldn't figure out your point guard spot because you didn't want to pull the trigger. So I think they're going to be aggressive in this. And that's the thing. There's still so many unknowns because not everybody is showing their hand.
Did they miscalculate on Dillingham, who I liked? I liked when they made that move, or is he one of those guys that's going to take him like a young quarterback who might, like J.J. McCarthy, who might need 3 years to figure the thing out, or what's the word with you and around the league on Dillingham?
Yeah, I mean, I think the athleticism was off the chart.
Yeah.
And I also think he was a G League Ignite guy, correct?
No.
He was Kentucky.
No, that's right.
Yeah, he was Kentucky. Yeah, University of Kentucky. Yeah, right.
He was Kentucky.
You're right. And highly thought of,
I think, yeah. And look, I don't think there were teams when they got him, they were saying that's a bad pick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I remember that.
It's just a matter of you develop him, can he figure it out, and are you running the right system for him? So, yeah, I just remember when that pick came down the road, it was like, yeah, that's a good pick. He's going to fit right in there. Another athlete, another guy that's going to be a problem. Yeah.
Well, as you know, the one thing about Tim Conley is they're kind of following the pattern they did each of the last 2 years, which was they were meandered similarly, and are doing that again now. But he's not. I don't think. I mean, Conley talks about believing in stability. And on many levels, I think that's what he's represented in an organization that I don't have to tell you the history here when it comes to instability. But he also, I think, is a guy who's not going to wait around. If he comes to the conclusion that this ain't going to work enough for where we want to go, and I might have to take a risk, but I'm going to do it. I mean, he strikes me as a guy who generally isn't going to sit back.
No, and I think that's his reputation. And I think you, especially now, once the apron hit and teams figured out that the NBA as they know it has changed, you have to strike early. And I think some teams struck earlier than usual last year, way before the trade deadline, because you just can't let this thing get away. And look, you could say it's easy to say the West is already determined because there is a monster there and no one is going to touch that monster. But as the playoff showed last year, that monster is one injury away from all of a sudden being gettable.
Right.
And you kind of have to keep that in mind if you're the Timberwolves. Where to me, the bar in Minnesota should be set up for, at the worst, we're in the Western Conference semifinals, challenging to go to the Western Conference Finals. That's the worst. That's the lowest the bar should be. And the way the team's playing and what it's missing right now, that has to be fixed if you want to get to that bar.
It's almost like the league needs its own Galuli or Shane Stant. They need somebody to hire somebody to take out, like you said, one of the Oklahoma City core players. Although they're so damn good and focused, maybe it wouldn't matter. I have no idea, but
And you know what's sick? You know what's sick is they possibly could have 3 lottery picks this year for a loaded 26 draft class.
It's almost now. Can the commissioner? I like to think that if David Stern was still running the league, he'd find a way to prohibit them from keeping all those picks because of a competitive imbalance concern. That it may be no one will watch the league any longer because OKC will be so dominant for so long.
Yeah, but the scary thing is financially, they probably don't want to keep all 3 of them.
That's true. Yeah.
But would they package them, trade up, and get someone really good at like 3 or 4 that fits in, and then they could kind of move guys through the line and say, we're keeping the foundation intact and we're moving the rest of you through the line. I mean, that's a scary, what they're doing there is scary. I mean, the rest of the league, the Bulls general managers aren't doing it. Put it that way. I know that for sure.
Where's Giannis going to end up, if anywhere?
I don't know. That one's tough. New York, it feels like New York. He's tinkered with Chicago, but I think when you look at who can make the trade, the best trade, you probably look at the Spurs. I think could probably offer up the most and send the most to Milwaukee, where they don't feel like they're totally rebuilding, where they're kind of reloading. So I would keep an eye on the Spurs because they just have a lot of young talent, a lot of flexibility. You could send draft picks. There's not many teams that can do that.
I might be done with Tibbs, by the way. I got to be honest with you. I might be done with him.
I just talked to our guy a couple weeks ago.
Well, we're happy for you. Happy for you. But
he's ready to go.
Well, see,
get him a job. He's ready to go. Give him that Cleveland job.
Oh, Well, that's...
I've always found Kenny Atkinson to be a bit of a fraud. Give Tibbs that job with that defense and get him away from a dysfunctional organization. I told him, I said, why don't you go like an organization that's not just beyond dysfunction? Bulls, Timberwolves, Knicks. I mean, pick somebody where there's some normalcy.
Yeah.
So, I would love to see him end up like with a ready-made team like Cleveland or something.
Well, here's what happened. So, as you know, when he's got nothing to do, he tours training camps, right? He goes everywhere.
Yes.
So, I find out he's here, and I immediately text him, and I got nothing. I said, all right, I don't expect you to come in the studio, but give us 5 minutes. Now, I felt a little better about it when I found out that he basically did the same thing to Frank Isola, among others, on another one of those trips. But I couldn't. In the old days, he'd at least text me back, and now I got it was crickets. Now, he didn't bleep you me, but he just ignored me.
He was probably breaking down film.
He
was probably breaking down film.
That's what he said.
Yes. I caught him right after the I think the second Alabama trip, because he did the college tour first, and he went to an Alabama football game. So
so he doesn't just do pros, does college too, everything.
College too, yeah. He was all over the college.
Where does he live now?
Yeah.
You know?
He still has his place in New York, and he still has his place in Connecticut. So I think he's kind of just East Coasting it.
So he's waiting it out, see where he can land. He's ready, though. There's no doubt. It's not like he's
ready.
Done.
He's ready.
All right, it's good to catch up, man. Appreciate you as always. Hope you're doing well, and we'll be in touch soon, I hope.
Absolutely, Dan. Take care. Happy holidays.
Same to you, Joe. Thank you so much. Joe Cowley, longtime beat writer, NBA, Chicago Bulls these days, covering the Bulls and the league for the Chicago Sun-Times. People are clamoring, where the hell's Gerby? Be patient. The plan is for him to join us next. Stay tuned.
Fan.
40, he could go. 50, intercepted.
And a touchdown.
To the 10, he will score.
It's time for the Bumper to Bumper award-winning NFL prediction segment on the Fan. Brought to you by Continental Diamond. Now, to help you break down this week's games, here's your favorite NFL wonk, Dan Barreiro.
Carl, may I ask a favor of you to start our segment today?
Yeah, we're starting a little late today. I'm just noting that.
I appreciate your flexibility. It allowed us to put on the highly controversial Chicago sports writer named Joe Cowley.
That sounds great, Dan.
You don't sound very...
Nothing but losers in Chicago, as far as I know.
What's that supposed to mean?
It means there's nothing but losers in Chicago. That's what it means.
I want to pass along... I'm actually the middle person here, passing along a question and a request from Fox 9 senior executive producer Lori Fisher.
That lady on TV.
That's the one. And she is, I guess you could say, respectfully asking you to send the Enough Said crew a holiday card so that then we could send one of our holiday cards back to you in the spirit of the holiday season. What are the odds?
I don't know about you, Dan. Maybe it's different in your house. Not in my. I have nothing to say about who we send Christmas cards.
Well, you
to.
could just pick one out yourself and send it.
That is not even. I don't even get a choice. I mean, it's like, yeah, I'm given a picture that says, "Hey, this is going to be on a Christmas card this year."
Okay, all right.
And I go, "Oh, that's great. Can we talk about that?" And it's like, "No, I already ordered them."
So you're out.
And it's
I
like,
see.
okay, who is sending them to? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's I'll tell my wife, the TV lady. She kind of likes the TV lady.
Does
Doesn't
she?
like you guys on TV
No,
very much.
I don't blame her for
She
that.
kind of likes the TV lady.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
so she might do it.
What's your card look like this year? Can you describe it, or have you
I don't have
even
any
seen it?
idea,
You don't even know.
I
Yeah.
assume it says Merry Christmas on it somewhere.
Well, or does it say Happy Holidays? Some of them say Merry Christmas. Some say Happy Holidays.
No, we're kind of Merry Christmas
Okay.
people.
All right. You don't run from it.
No, yeah, I know. It's if you want to send me one that says something else, go ahead.
Okay. You're not offended.
I think it's kind of a weird tradition that we have in this country. So, it's weird. It's nice. What it does, it says that, hey, I really haven't thought about you all year, but here's a card.
Yeah. That's
kind of what it is.
That's nice, but we're thinking
you're on
about
my
you
list.
now.
I should think about you right now.
Well, better-
And here's a card.
better than not at all.
Right, yeah, no, I mean, the fact that the people have Christmas lists, it's go, oh, yeah. And then you ask yourself, did we get one from them last year?
Yeah, you can't. Yes.
And then you start to keep score.
Yeah, you do.
And it's like,
You're right.
I don't. That's not what Christmas is all about, Dan.
No, you have more wisdom sometimes than I really thought was in you. I'm not going to lie.
What's that supposed to
I
mean?
don't know. It's meant to be a kind of a
Sounds
left-handed
insulting
compliment.
to me.
Yeah,
Sounds
it
like
is.
it's
It is so.
you're trying to give me a backhand compliment.
Is Randy part of your card, or does he do his own?
I have no idea.
I don't think he does cards. I'd be shocked if Randy does a card.
He
bet he
used to
does.
be on our card, but
Yeah.
he's not living with us right now. So
Did you boot him?
He's not. I don't. What's that?
Did you boot him? Did you throw him
No,
out?
he's just back. He's just
Okay.
living still in Elkmount. So
Oh, I didn't know that. When did that happen? I thought he was living at the bed and
when we
breakfast and
bought
lunch.
our new house, we bought a new house
In Baraboo?
Not in Baraboo.
That was years
I'm
ago.
not going
you're
to tell
right.
you where it is because I don't want your creepy audience coming around.
Well, is it in like Greater Elk Mound?
No, it's not in Elkmount at all.
It's way out of Elk Mound. Well, then okay, people.
We're in a neighboring community to Elkmount.
But why suddenly the secrecy? You've always been pretty transparent and open.
Well, because before, Dan, I was hawking people to come to the
Oh, I see.
Wisconsin Interactive Ice Ball exhibit, and which is connected to the house. Now, that is now the Wisconsin Interactive Ice Ball exhibit and bed and breakfast and lunch.
How would Gerby describe his pure progression? Blatz beer to box wine to the pure paint thinner?
What are you talking about?
It's an inside joke.
What does that mean?
It's an inside callback to stuff we've been talking
Is
about
it
here in
something
Minnesota.
everybody else have a nice chuckle within your audience now?
Well, no, it's
They're
not.
going, oh, that was very clever, Dan.
It's not at your expense necessarily, although I am curious, what would be your purest progression, like best to worst, when it comes to libations?
Having a drink?
Yeah.
Well, I start with a beer.
What
Yeah.
brand of beer?
I don't care. I mean,
Doesn't matter.
let's go.
Yes.
And then I'd move up to
Box wine?
No, wine's fine, but you got to be. Here's what I've learned: unless you're eating something, wine is pretty pointless. You just sit around and drink a glass of wine. What the hell's that about? It's like, number one, it's not. It tastes better if you're having like roast beef or like
Seafood
a
risotto.
delicate pasta
Yeah.
or something like that.
Right.
Bratwurst risotto
Bratwurst
is
risotto,
great with
yeah.
wine, especially white wine.
Sure. And then, so what's
but
next?
I don't have a lot of time or need for it if I'm just drinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I would skip towards, and it doesn't matter where you go because there's so many good choices. Vodka and Sprite used to be my go-to.
Yes.
But, I mean, I like a margarita from time to time. I've become very eclectic in my tastes. I have a wide variety of nationalities in my drinking. And so I also like, I like rum, especially like spiced rum. You ever had spiced rum?
I have not.
It's different. You put that with some Diet Coke or Coke, something like that, or just sip it, put it in eggnog. And you can't go wrong with whiskey.
Whiskey. I was wondering if you're going to get to whiskey.
Well, of course you can't go. That's what you get, or brandy and old fashioned.
Yeah.
What I learned is that whiskey and brandy are very similar, and bourbon, they're all very similar.
Are they?
Really?
So,
No clue.
yeah, they're similar.
Are you a big fan this time of year of the hot toddy?
Sure, why not? Let's go.
What's in a hot toddy?
I gotta wait till I get home, though. I really can't be drinking
No,
here.
I like to say hot toddy, but I don't know what's in a hot toddy. What's in a hot toddy? Do you know?
Yeah, generally it's like got some creamy.
Okay, yeah.
And then you put some rum in it.
Mm-hmm.
That's very tasty. You like eggnog and rum?
No, I do not.
I do.
I don't like eggnog at all.
Me neither.
A little too thick.
What are you talking about? It's great.
Okay. No, I'm not saying.
Well, you hate the holidays? Is that what's always the case? Bah humbug, don't like that eggnog.
I don't need
Sure.
to drink to enjoy the holidays, do I? Is that a prerequisite? In your world, it probably is. Yeah,
Really,
it
that
helps.
helps.
Yeah, especially with relatives, I know.
You don't have my family. That's all. I'll say that.
We got to get another break in because we had the late guest.
What's the point of that?
Well, because we want to stay on schedule, and then we want to get to the picks for a big weekend of a big
I'm really not
slate of
used to
games.
having my train of thought
I'm sorry.
interrupted by your commercial.
I'll do it. Well, you're going to have to make an exception in this case. Gerby Part 2, and we'll actually get to the standings and our picks in just a minute.